Let's talk about the fundamental building block of object-oriented programming, the class. The most common type of class is a concrete class, and the name already hints you as to what it actually is. Concrete means that everything in the class is defined and implemented. It can be instantiated and then used. And as you remember, once you have instantiated a class, you have an object which you can then use in your program. Now let's go ahead and create a concrete class. I will go ahead and create a file called car salesman. Then I will go ahead and create a concrete class. Let's go ahead and say new file. I'll say car salesman.cs. Then I will create a class, a concrete class. So you will do this by using the reserved keyword class and then writing the name of the class after it. It can be anything you want, but in this case, it is car salesman. In this class, we will have a constructor, fields, and property, and a method. This constructor will take in two parameters, one called first name, the other one called last name. I'll go ahead and say public car salesman. And then this will take in first name, string last name. All right. And then I'm going to have the fields. Okay. So I'm going to set the first name equals first name. Then last name is equal to last name. Okay, here we go. Then we will have a property which will expose the combined value of these fields. And the exposed value will be the full name. So we'll just simply put the first name and the last name together. Let's go ahead and create that. I will say public string full name. And then get, which is our getting the value from the property. And in this block, you will say the following. I'm going to use string format, which is basically going to let us return a string in a templated format. It's just more convenient to concatenate a string together instead of just saying string plus another string. It's a cleaner way of doing it. So in this case, I will say 0, 1. These are just placeholders for values you pass into the string format. In this case, 0 will be first name, and 1 will be last name. Cool. So here's the distinct difference between the fields and the properties. As mentioned before, you want to keep your fields private and then use your properties to expose the value or values of your fields and transform them if you want to as well. So now our first name and last name are private and full name is public. So you are basically saying full name will expose the values of the fields, which is your property. Now you don't have to have your fields as private and you don't have to have your property as public, but that's the best practice. So why not keep up with the standards that are being used in the field? Also, one convention is that properties are capitalized and the fields have an underscore in front of them, like so. Once again, you don't have to do it the way that is shown, but it is a very well-known convention, so why not be in line with how things are being done in the field, once again. Then we will have a method called sell. It will simply print out a message introducing the salesman and then asking a potential client to purchase a car. So I will say public void sell, and it's going to say console write line. Now, in order to get access to the console class, we need to export the system, which we already did. And then inside, we're going to use string format once again for convenient string concatenation. And I will say, hi, my name is 0, which is a placeholder. I would recommend you to buy this car. And then we will say full name, which is going to be replacing the 0 right here. So once again, just a convenient way for us to create a string. So that's it. Note a few things here. Constructor has the same name as the class. That's how you know it's a constructor. See, car salesman and car salesman as the class name. The this reserved keyword references to the class that you are inside of at the moment. So in this case, it is car salesman. When you type in this and then you say dot in front of it, it will show you all of the available fields, properties, and methods on the given class. So if you take this out, say dot, see you have full name, first name, last name, and cell. In this case, we need first name. Now let's go ahead and actually instantiate this class. I will go to program, take this out, and then I will say car salesman, Steve, the salesman, equals new car salesman. I will say Steve Rogers. Rogers is last name. Here we go. So as you notice, we use the new reserved keyword in order to instantiate the class. And during the instantiation, the constructor of the class, right here, is going to require us of all of the parameters it needs to build out the object or the instance of the class as it is also known. Once instantiated, we can use all of the properties and methods available to us. So we can say console, right line. In this case, we just want to print out the full name. So we say Steve, the salesman, dot, full name. And then we can say Steve, the salesman, dot, cell. Notice that we're using the variable in order to access the properties and the methods because that is where the instance of the class is. The variable here is our object. The car salesman is the class. So this is the class. This is the instance of the class. Once again, the car salesman is the blueprint or the map. And then the Steve the salesman is the object, which we can use to call properties and methods on. We could have as easily made another object and called it Eric the sales dude. And this would have been a different instance of the same object. So let's go ahead and do that. I will say car salesman, Eric the sales dude, equals new car salesman and Eric. It didn't come out as Eric. Erickson. And I'm going to actually copy paste this part because it's pretty similar, except the fact that we're going to use Eric the sales dude as the variable name. All right. Once again, if you remember from the chart, we have one class that tells us how to build the object, and then we can build as many objects as we want from that class. So here we have one class, which is the blueprint, and then we can use that blueprint to create as many instances of that class, or aka objects, as we want. Going back here, this is our class, the blueprint. Then from that blueprint, we can create as many objects as they want. In this case, we have two, which is Steve the salesman and then Eric the sales dude. Two separate instances of the same class. Let's go ahead and run this to see how it works. So I will go ahead and breakpoint it and then run. All right, let's go through it. And you can see it says Steve Rogers. Hi, my name is Steve Rogers. I would recommend you to buy this car. Eric Erickson. Hi, my name is Eric Erickson. I would recommend you to buy this car. So there you go. This is a concrete class, an object-oriented programming.